Today we're going to tear down and install a new motion activated security light, LED security light. Let's check it out. Today we're going to look at an LED motion light by Sansi. This one was sent to me to evaluate, and we're going to give it a good test run. We'll try it out. More importantly though, we're going to take it apart and see how it's constructed before we test it. So it comes with everything included in the box. This is for outdoor use, obviously. It has a motion detector, and it has 8 LEDs. These look to be fairly bright. Comes with all the mounting hardware to attach it to an existing box. First mount your mounting plate. It has a gasket, and then you put the main screw through the center, which will then attach the electronics to the wall mount bracket, the wall box. We're going to mount this thing a little bit later, but first I think we'll hook this thing up and we'll take it apart and see how well it's built. So first things first, I have to get a cord that I can connect this up with, and I just so happen to have one here, which is all set for the procedure. Just a regular power cord with my neutral and hot wires exposed. So obviously you got a neutral and a hot, and this one's going to go to the ground. I'm not too worried about the ground right now. I'm going to be plugged into my isolated power bench supply, my isolation transformer. I guess I should keep the trolls at bay and connect white to white and black to black. Not that it matters. It doesn't matter at all because I'm on an isolation transformer for starters. And we'll just put some electrical tape just to keep things safe so that no one gets a shock, namely me. Okay, before we begin, there's a mode switch on the front. It has 4 positions: test, auto, on time, and D2D. What test is for? Test will operate the light for 5 seconds whenever it detects motion. This is useful when you're setting up your coverage, when you're pointing the motion detector into your coverage area to make sure that when there's motion in that area, the light will light up. Auto is the mode that most people are going to leave it in, which is the next position over. Auto turns the light on when it detects motion for a predetermined amount of time, which you can set, and then turns the light off until it detects motion again. It can be overridden, so if you're in auto mode and you want to keep the lights on, just simply toggle the power switch that controls that light fixture off and then back on, and that will turn the light on for up to 8 hours or until it gets light, and then it will go back to auto mode. The next mode is what's called on time. On time bypasses the motion detector and allows the light just to operate as a regular light. When you turn on the power switch, the light will come on. When you turn it off, it will go out. The last mode is D2D, or dusk to dawn. In D2D mode, the light will turn on when it gets dark, and it will stay on all night, and it will turn off when it gets light in the morning. On the bottom, there are 3 controls that are used to set the unit. Lux is the sensitivity, so this determines when it turns into auto mode to determine the difference between day and night. That affects your sensitivity. The second, or sensitivity to ambient light. The second setting is your time from 1 to 10 minutes. Just dial it in. And the third one, this is the sensitivity for the infrared detector. Low sensitivity or high sensitivity, depending on how sensitive and how far you want your motion detector to detect motion. Those are the only settings on the unit. Let's power it up. I'm going to put it in test mode. Now, I gotta let it power up for about a minute before it will actually detect anything, according to the instructions that say let it run for a minute so that it can stabilize. So we're gonna turn on the power. I expect the lights probably will come on, maybe not. Oh, wait a sec. Might help if I plug it in. Okay, plugged in, power on. So the light comes on. Should stay on for about 5 seconds because it's in test mode, and then it should go out. Light on, let's see how long it stays on for. Bring my hands in. I was way off out of the field and the light came on. It has a 180-degree field of view. So that's the test mode. And the test mode should operate even when there's light shining on the light sensor. It should still operate as test mode. I was moving there, so it'll still operate. You see, in the daytime, I'm shining light onto the light sensor. In auto mode, in the daytime, I'll probably have to run here for the full minute now because I just tripped it. Okay, now it's off. When there's light shining, when the sun is up and it's daytime and there's light hitting the photo sensor, which is on the bottom, so it's not going to pick up passing lights from cars and stuff. It's going to pick up indirect light coming in from the bottom. When it's daytime, the lights aren't going to come on. And at nighttime, and I have to cover this up so that it sees that it's dark. It takes a few seconds for it to reset. Now the lights come on. So that's auto. The next mode over is called on time, and on time is just that. The lights will stay on. I think I'm in on time mode now. The lights will stay on until I turn them off. As soon as I turn the lights on, the lights come on. So in that mode, it operates as conventional light. The fourth mode is dusk to dawn. And basically, when it detects light, and even right now with the ambient light that's in the workshop here, it's going to go out. But if I turn out the lights, probably enough light coming in from the daytime from outside. And they close down the door. Lights come on in the dark at dusk. And they should go out. There might not be enough light from the overhead lights that's hitting that sensor. But if I hit my flashlight onto it, the lights will go out. Then the lights come back on. So that's dusk to dawn mode. The amount of light that these give off is actually very good. The CRI appears to be really high. Look at the colors on that car. That just off of a calendar. Looks beautiful. The light it gives off is, I'm going to guesstimate because I'm not measuring it right now, but I will get my phone out there and we'll measure it. But I'm going to guesstimate it's probably equivalent to a couple of 100-watt halogen bulbs. It's actually quite bright. If I cover up one side, there's one bank of lights. There's the other. Let me zoom the camera back just so you can see that it does light up the shop quite nicely. And the lights themselves can be directed. So you can direct them to either side or more in the middle. So depending on where what areas you want to light, you can direct all the light more to the middle or over to the side, and you can adjust them. Right, you can up, down, out, to the side. You can adjust it any which way you want. So for you guys wondering what the power consumption is, power is applied to it. I've got the flashlight shining on the LED. Let's turn the flashlight off and watch when the lights come on, and it'll show us our power draw for the LEDs. 30 watts. So it consumes 30 watts for the LEDs and 0 when it's off. very efficient. The infrared unit itself, they draw no power, literally nothing. We've got passive infrared, battery powered motion detectors for security systems that a single lithium battery will typically last for 3 or 4 years. So the actual PIR draws virtually nothing. I have a cat that's howling. My cat that thinks he's a dog has brought all of his toys over and he's lined them up by the door. He wants to play fetch. Okay. So we know it draws 30 watts. And it does throw out a fair bit of light. The next thing we want to see is how well these units are made. So, time to crack this one open. First, let's talk about the material. It's plastic. The base is made out of plastic, as are the lampshades. So you know that they're not going to rust, they're not going to bend, and they should be good for several years of use. The LEDs themselves are attached to the base. The LEDs do not come out of the base, I don't think. Maybe they do. Let me take a look here. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get the actual light assembly out because it all appears to be sealed together, which for obviously it's got to be waterproof, so I don't want to break any seals, as I don't want to, I'm going to be putting this outside, so I don't want to risk damaging it to the point where it's going to leak. But I can certainly take apart the control box. That shouldn't be a problem. That should just pop apart, I would think. I don't think there'll be much in here anyway, maybe just a relay. Yeah, so here's the power relay. It's got a little transformer in here, little switch mode power supply, and it's all encapsulated. You can see it here. You can see the board itself has been encapsulated, so it's moisture proof. And this is going to be the MOSFET. Here's the power MOSFET and the switching transformer. And then the lights themselves are attached to the front, screwed down. There's a couple of, looks like they're, I guess maybe they're glued in. What's this? Are they mounted? They don't come apart anyway. We'll see how the LEDs themselves are wired. The motion detector is separate, that's down here. And it's also a sealed unit. So we won't be able to open that unit up. There's no screws or anything. This is all going to be hermetically sealed for obvious reasons because it's going out in the rain. The little circuit board here is held in place by a single screw. We can lift that out and take a look on the bottom side of that. That's not a problem. The LEDs, as you can see, are connected in series. So positive of one bank of LEDs returns us the negative, feeds out on the positive of the other LED, and then back. If these LEDs themselves are in series. So what do you want to guess the voltage is going to be across these? I don't know how many, I don't know what the LEDs themselves are being driven with. It's obviously DC. It appears there's only one big chip in here, but I don't know how many LEDs are in series in each chip. There's probably multiple ones. I'm going to guess, I mean, it might be 48 volts per bank. Let's just see what we're actually getting here. You guys can see the meter or not. Okay, bank number 1. Might help if I turn this thing on so the lights stay on. But bank number 1 has 48 volts on it. I'm measuring it the wrong way, but so across both banks it's 97 volts. 97 volts DC across 8 LED chips. So that would mean that there's 12 volts to each of these LEDs because they're going to be in series. So there'll be 4 chips. There could be 4 junctions inside each one of these LEDs. And if you've got 4 1 watt junctions, that's 4 watts. So, you know, so it's 16 watts per bank. With all of them together, we should have 32 watts, and the meter says 30. So we're in the ballpark. So there's 4 junctions inside each one of these chips. 16 junctions per side. 32 LEDs is what is in this light. Note that the screw is stainless steel, not magnetic, so it's not going to rust, which is good because it's going to be in a moisture environment. There we go. Let's go and mount this unit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove, this is an old photo sensor that doesn't work. These lights are actually on a timer now, so this is kind of redundant. So I'm going to remove this photo sensor. And I'm going to mount the sensor light onto this box and point it down the side of my house. That way, anybody that walks into my drive, even though there's lights on at the front, and there's some dim lights on, like little 1 watt LEDs, like a 1 watt LED right in this fixture up here that stay on all night. The bright ones will come on if it's any motion. Anybody that walks around the car, for example, at night, it'll kick on the floodlights. That's the idea. So I'm going to have them shining down into my driveway. So I'm just going to mount it here. And don't do what I'm doing. I'm standing on a metal ladder working on electric circuits, but that's okay. I'm not too worried. I know what I'm doing. I'm not going to get a shock. Look at this. There was a hornet's nest starting there. Looks like some mud wasps too. Those little buggers will try and set up shop anywhere they can. So first I'll put the 2 stainless steel screws in to hold the bracket. I guess I can take down this remote control. What I've done is I've just connected all the hot wires together and twisted them together. There was an incoming line before, a black, coming in from the wall switch, which is off, by the way. There was a 3-wire set, so a red, black, and white coming in from the wall switch, and then a black and white leaving. And the reason for that was there's a pole light that was fed back. It used to be, it's an LED light now, but at one time it was a sodium light. So there was a ballast inside. So there was a return. There was power coming out to the photo control on a black wire, and then it was going back on a red wire back to where the switch was, where it fed to a pole light in the driveway, and then the other black wire fed out to the soffits. So there was a black coming in to the feed on this photo control. This is probably why this photo control is no good. The mud wasps got in here. We'll take this apart. And I bet you that's why it's no good, is they got in here and contaminated it. And anyway, this thing burned out. Because these aren't supposed to be mounted outside upside down. They're supposed to be like wall mounted. So I think probably moisture got in it due to mud wasps getting in and trying to build a nest inside here. Anyway, neutral coming in, hot coming in for the photo control, and then the photo controlled output, one feeding back to the switch where it picked up my pole light and my 2 lights over my door, and then the other black light feeding down that way to a couple more soffit lights that are on all night. They're just small LEDs, including this one right here. So that's in place. Next we'll put the bracket up. So because this fixture is plastic and there is a ground lead on it, we're going to hook up the ground screw it goes into there to ground the light fixture itself. Okay, now to prep the light. It's going to strip the wires a bit more. Ready to connect the wires. Hot wire is black. And finally, we'll take the green wire and we'll wrap it around the screw and screw that down. That'll complete the grounding. Good enough. I'm just going to turn the motion sensor around so that it's facing the right way up. Tighten down the screw that holds it in place. Oops. Now anybody that walks down the side of my house at night into my driveway and towards the side of my house will turn on these lights, light the pathway. There is lights on this pathway at night. There's a couple of little 1-watt LEDs that run all night and just give a bit of a glow. But this way here, this whole area will be brightly lit. Anybody that comes down the side here. And it also, of course, throws some floodlights into the driveway. So if anybody's going to tamper with the cars at night, like try to steal gas, and that's a big problem right now with the price of gas as it is now. There's been problems with people drilling holes in gas tanks and stealing the gas right out of your vehicle and your driveway. And at $1.71 a liter, you know, they'll steal $50 worth of gas and cause $1,000 damage to the car, and they don't care, and that happens. So security lights are good because when the light comes on, it'll scare the crap out of them. They won't be able to hide. And of course, I've got cameras here too, so the light coming on will allow the camera to record a much better picture than it can with the night vision. And we'll test it once it gets dark. But that's how you install a security light. And this one here, as I say, I got this one as a trial and it looks to be a good one. Link to this one is in the description. We'll test this out once it gets dark. So I've got it positioned where I think it's going to be in a good location. It's going to provide plenty of light for that camera that's facing down to the back, and plenty of light for the other camera, which is in front of it, facing out into the driveway. So if anybody comes in here at night, it's going to light the place up. And if I have to go out to my car, for example, at night, as soon as I walk out there, it's going to turn on the lights. So I think this is going to work out well. And we'll just do some shooting tonight once it gets dark, and we'll see how it looks. Okay, it's now getting dark. The light is up here. And I'm going to walk across my driveway. I've got it set so that anybody that comes into the driveway, the light will turn on. So as I walk across the driveway, so anybody that's walking up towards the cars at night, nice bright light will come on to light up the driveway and light up. And there it is, nice and bright. Thanks for watching. The link is in the description.